Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni!
Fires upfield into the end zone, and it's caught. Jelani Woods, touchdown, INDY! A 43-point night for Tyrese Halliburton.
How do you like that, partner?
Renew now, drives in low, throws up a shot. It doesn't go. Tipped up and in by Anthony Leal. Indiana takes the lead.
It's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
Now, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Hello, everybody. Welcome aboard. I hope you're doing well. Welcome aboard to Tuesday edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Jim Coyle with you, as always. I appreciate you guys being with us. And Mike DeCourcy will join us today, as well as Chronic Hoosier. Plenty others. We'll hear from Kurt Cignetti as we get one day closer to week one, or to kicking off the college football season for most teams this weekend in week one. The Big Ten releases its tiebreakers. We'll talk about that. And Tom Jonas pointed out the last three games are the schedule on Indiana's schedule. That is, are the three teams that Kurt Cignetti called out during his introduction last year at in Simon Scott Assembly Hall. You know, the Purdue sucks and Ohio State and Michigan too. That's the last three games on the schedule. It's kind of funny, just ironic. Appreciate everybody hitting us up on the Andy Moore Honda hotline. You can do so as well if you're following us on Twitter. Otherwise, we appreciate everybody, no matter where and how you're listening. Down on the river, 97.7 ESPN, the Ref, always the right call. The Evansville area, up in the region, 12:30 a.m., 104.7 FM, the voice of the region, WJOB, and over in Fort Wayne, Fort Wayne's only sports station, 1380 The Fan. Make sure you keep it tuned right here. More sports coming up immediately after we're off. So keep her here. Big Ten tiebreakers. And there's a mother that is of a Tennessee recruit that is suing, that has filed suit because of restrictions against public school athletes cashing in on their fame. Yeah, we knew it was going to go there, but the mother of a highly touted high school quarterback who is committed to play for Tennessee is suing the state of North Carolina over its restrictions against public school athletes cashing in on their name, image, likeness. Rolanda Brandon filed the complaint last week in Wake County Superior Court. Her son is Greensboro Grimsley quarterback Faison Brandon, who was ranked number 32 in the ESPN Junior 300, number 4 in the pocket passer class. North Carolina State Board of Education and the Department of Public Instruction are named as defendants there. The lawsuit follows a policy adopted in June, blocking the state's public school athletes from making money through the use of their name, image, and likeness. The State Board of Education was asked to create rules allowing public high school athletes to use their NIL. It was not empowered to ban it, Charlotte-based attorney Mike Ingersoll said. And because there are states that where this is totally legal. So I guess it is going to become a big deal. I don't know that we need to see this at the high school level, but I guess that's not for me to say. I'll leave that for a judge to decide. The State Board of Education was asked to create those rules, like I said, and their attorney says they did not have the power to ban it. The complaint states that a prominent national trading card company had agreed to pay Faison to sign memorabilia before graduation, offering the family financial security for years to come. Why in the hell were they? This guy, are they banking that his signature is going to be worth something one day? Because it cannot be worth anything right now. So I'm just curious as what that play is. But North Carolina is among the states that do not permit NIL activities, such as endorsements for public appearances at camps, autograph signings, all of which have become common at the college level, as we know. That restriction, however, doesn't apply to private school athletes, such as fellow Tennessee recruit David Sanders, who goes to Charlotte's Providence Day School. He's got a website dedicated towards selling merchandise with his own image. Well, we'll see how that turns out. I would imagine that that's going to become something in Indiana, especially with all the basketball players that come out of this state. Not that that we don't produce some football players, but the basketball players are obviously a little more well known, and draw more water from the well. But we shall see. But always something interesting. Oh, it just goes to show you, it's always something. SMU moving to the ACC. You've got Stanford, which they're not going to be very good. And who else was moving? There's one more team that's coming in there, I believe. Penn State's athletic director gets a new $2.26 per year. $2.26 per year new deal. That's not bad. We talked about Cooper Flagg yesterday signing as a significant shoe deal with New Balance. Flagg plans to join a New Balance brand tied closely to his home state. But my question is, and we talked about this yesterday, is can he wear those shoes on the floor during games if his school has a relationship with, whether it's Nike, Adidas, or whomever it is, like Indiana's an Adidas school, Purdue's a Nike school. Though Purdue and Nike are paying these schools money, they're giving them product, and all that includes for the athletes to wear their products. So I don't think that he can circumvent that personally. It just might be commercials that he does outside of it. We'll have to wait and see, but I don't know. Did you see that Rick Pitino's office was burglarized? I think a bullhorn was taken. I forget what all was taken, but they found the guy. There was two of them they saw in a video, but a 25-year-old man has been arrested and charged with stealing a ceremonial sword. That's what it was. A ceremonial sword and bullhorn from Coach Rick Pitino's office at St. John's University in New York City and Queens. Emmanuel Yukubov was arrested Friday, one day after police released surveillance footage showing two men walking down a hallway in the building, with one carrying the stolen sword and the other holding the bullhorn. Luckily, he wasn't using the bullhorn, I guess. Yukubov, who lives in Queens, where the Catholic institution is located, was charged with burglary, petty larceny, trespassing, and possession of stolen property. He remained in custody Saturday night, unknown whether he had a lawyer. Police said the theft happened on Tuesday when two people gained entry to the university's athletics department offices without authorization and removed a number of items before fleeing on a moped. I like the moped part. The second suspect, still at large. They're on the lookout for someone with a bullhorn standing on a corner screaming, "I did it, I did it." Just kidding. UConn and the Big 12 in early talks on a potential membership. That'll be with everything except football, because UConn does not have a football team, which the UConn is becoming a pretty good football conference. So or remaining a pretty decent football conference, even with the loss of some teams lately. I'm surprised that they would bring a team in that, or a school in, it didn't have one, but UConn, with their recent success in college basketball, would again add to their basketball mystique. UConn, Kansas, man. It says here the Big 12 is in talks with UConn about joining the league in all sports. I didn't think they had a football program, though. Or they do, but it sucked, right? No vote has occurred for a potential Huskies membership, nor is one close to happening, as sources caution that there has been pushback among several members that would need to be overcome. The talks have advanced to the point where UConn Athletics Director David Benedict and Board Chairman Darren Toscano met with Big 12 commissioners, athletics directors in person in Dallas last week to make their case. The conversations centered around football funding and how UConn could be competitive upon joining the league in 2031, sources said. So there you go. There's the football part. Part of UConn's presentation covered how the Huskies would be prepared to build and spend money on football like the current Big 12 programs, sources said. They also pitched the league on how quickly they became competitive in the Big East Football Conference after joining in 2004. A Big 12 board call is being planned for next week with the league's presidents that would lay out specific deal points. So that's coming. It's whether or not they can talk those guys into letting them in with a crappy football program. And I get that because football's where the money is made, people. And they'll be dragging them down for a while, but it is what it is. We've got lots more coming up. Appreciate everybody jumping on the Andy Moore Honda hotline as well from all over. We'll be back with Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News right after this.
This segment is brought to you by Hoosier Hanks East.
All righty.
Good first segment.
Yeah, solid. Yes.
Ooh.
We got about 1 minute.
Did you send the link to Mike?
I did.
All right.
I don't know if I have his phone number, though. I don't believe I do. 15. And 5.
This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Tuesday. Thank you so much. Brought to you by Bubba's 33 down in Clarksville for our Southern Indiana peeps. Make sure you stop in right off of I-65 on Veterans Parkway. Pizza, burgers, beer. Always a great place to catch a game, by the way. Mike DeCourcy set to join us here in a little bit, and plenty to talk about. It seems funny because the Dartmouth conversation is rearing its ugly head again as they've joined a union or something, and they've got the union that represents the Dartmouth basketball team has now filed an unfair labor practice charge against the Ivy League school on Wednesday because it has refused to negotiate with the players on a collective bargaining agreement. Good Lord, people. It's crazy. And it's just, is it ever going to stop? Every direction, everybody is trying to squeeze something out of everything now. Who is this supposed to be good for? Dartmouth? You don't have you have a basketball program in theory, and that's it. But it's just more mucking up the system. It seems like anybody and everybody that can muck up the system is trying to do it. Everyone has their hand out, and if you're they've changed the rules for NIL, and if you're worthy of that, why isn't that good enough? I don't understand why. It seems to me they're just, you have to know at some point that all of this cannot be good for the game, your future teammates, your future teams, etc. Dave G says that he saw Colorado has 3 players that are making over $1 million on their NIL deal, and they're not going to be any good. By that, I mean, you say Colorado. Well, that doesn't really make a big difference. However they're making that money, is that being, are those businesses or whatever the case may be, are they getting that return on their investment? And also, we know that Colorado, home of Neon Dion, is not your normal place. They do things a little differently. We'll see that. We'll see how that works out. Yeah, I love the fleeing on a moped. And I just, it's got to have a short shelf life. I also think that Deion Sanders at Colorado is going to be a short shelf life. It's going to be a flash in the pan. Right now, he's under pressure. They sucked last year. They were 4-8. All that talk, all that bravado. This is the last year he'll have Shedeur at quarterback, right? So when he doesn't have his guys that he brought over from, was it Jacksonville State? Things are going to change. It becomes I just don't know that this is something he can put or wants to put the kind of time in that it takes to be a head coach. but we'll find out. There's a lot more to it than just making snappy remarks and all of that. But hey, who knows? We shall find out. And my mistake, Mike's on vacation this week, and we missed that. So our bad. But Jason pointing out that UConn has a football team. They are independent. Jim Mora Jr. is their coach. Yeah, I didn't mean to suggest that they don't have one, but they don't have one, if you know what I mean. They're not very good. But that's the issue with the Big 12. Because they're not good at all. They stink. And but in this day and age, if you have some funds, it's not nearly as difficult to not stink. They're not getting the kind of money, though, where they are that will allow them to do that. So they're basically looking to the Big 12 for a lifeline because they know that even as successful as the basketball program has been, winning back-to-back national championships, that without a solid football program, their athletics department overall will be hurt. So they're asking for a lifeline from the Big 12. And the Big 12 is not sure that that's what they want to do. What are they going to get from UConn? They get basketball, but they have basketball in the Big 12. They've got Kansas. They've got Oklahoma. Texas Tech. So we'll see how that works out for them. A vote coming up, like I said, on that. John Calipari returning to Rupp Arena February 1st. That's going to be interesting to see. Of course, he coaches at Arkansas now. It's 2009 when Calipari arrived in Lexington. I'm going to be interested to see the reception he receives when he gets to Lexington, sitting on the Arkansas bench. I think that Kentucky fans probably appreciate him for some things, but finally, toward the end, even through their fandom, they started to see that John Calipari is a used car salesman. He had the greatest talent for over a decade. And while they won a lot of games, they could not win the big one time. They did win one, but I think finally they saw through the mystique, so to speak. So, and you've got Mark Pope, who's already done a decent job landing Malachi Moreno. We'll see how the rest of that goes. Rutgers athletic director, back to the Big Ten, Pat Hobbs, has resigned suddenly last Friday, ending the stint of the athletic director with the longest continuous tenure in the Big Ten. Hobbs will be replaced on an interim basis by Deputy Athletic Director Ryan Bissari. Hobbs' resignation note, which was distributed internally at Rutgers, referenced his health and a recent meeting with his cardiac team. A lot of stress in those jobs, people. A lot of stress. Especially now when you've got so much money that's involved. Money is it, baby. It is. There you go, Philip. It is about money. Well, and that puts a lot of stress on these athletics directors. I don't know that there is any rumored offer. And first of all, don't listen to rumored offers. That stuff does not get out. Everybody kept thinking that Umar Ballo was getting $1.2 million. That's not. He asked for that, but I guarantee you he's not getting that. So don't listen to rumors. Five Lefts thinks Colorado is going to be competitive this year. Well, being competitive and being good. I'll tell you what. Here we go. Five Lefts. Who has a better record? Colorado or Indiana? Great question. Thank you. Patting myself on the back there. But that is a good question. 4-8 last year for Colorado, 3-9 for Indiana. Who has a better record this season? Who has the better turnaround? Dion has the advantage because this is his second season there. Has his quarterback in place. Shedeur Sanders has his guys in place already. Dave says Shedeur gets $4.7 million, which if that's in a lot of different places, okay. But if that's in one large lump, there's no way that they're getting a return on that. I don't think. But that could be from several different sources. That's a lot of money, man. I mean, is that confirmed or is that estimated? Because these estimates are not on. Five Lefts thinks Colorado does. We'll see. Hey, don't forget to go. It's week 1, baby. And the Indiana Sports Beat College Pick'em. It's set up, ready to go over at the ESPN. You go to the fantasy tab and just look for Indiana Sports Beat is the group. Cignetti 2024 is the password. So we shall see who is the king of picking the games this year. Ross says he got up this morning to see the Cubs plated 18 last night. Today they will get shut out. Yeah, that's about how it would go for the Reds. The Reds would probably get shut out for 3 more games after that. Baseball season winding down. Speaking of a which, who's doing what hasn't changed a whole lot for most of us in central Indiana. It's you're either a Cardinals fan, a Reds fan, or a Cubs fan. All in the Central Division, which stinks to high heavens, except for Milwaukee, who is not in the group that I just mentioned, who are projected to make the playoffs with a 99.2%. Cubs are in second in this division, 10 games back of Milwaukee, a half game in front of the Cardinals. Then Cincinnati is 2.5 further back of that. And then Pittsburgh. Terrible division. Yeah, we shall see let's see, Philadelphia, Atlanta. The Mets fighting for that playoff spot. K-Bro, have to get K-Bro back on here. The Yankees have taken control of the National League East, 2 games in front of Baltimore. Cleveland in the Central, leading Kansas City by 1. And the Astros, they lead the American League West. Oh, is it Cignetti 24, not 2024? I didn't read that correctly. Yes, sir. You're right, Philip. Thank you for pointing that out on the Indiana Sports Beat College Pick'ems. Password is Cignetti 24. Thank you for paying attention. Speaking of Cignetti, when we come back, when we take a break here in a minute, we'll hear from Coach Cignetti. As he met with the media yesterday, we also got to see a lot of what they're going to be providing for fans this year. It is a much cooler looking venue. If you walk around the stadium now, each concession area is kind of different. You have the Sausage House. Let's see. I'm trying to think of all the different ones that were just, every one was different. It's a cool setup. You have so many fans will have so many options. It'll be interesting to see what's most popular, because then that's going to be the longest line. But Buffalo's will be there. You've got Yogi's with some food offerings that will be there. Trying to think of all of the different ones. Aver's Pizza. They brought in all the local people and this is in conjunction with the Levy's people. No, I did not take pictures. I thought about it, but I decided not to. But you'll see it soon enough. But yeah, it just looks better. And I think the way they have it set up with like Buffalo's and Aver's Pizza, they're away from the concession stand and their own little situation. Own little Kwanzaa hut, whatever you want to call it. But it's separated out, so that may make lines not as long, people going to different ones. So it's kind of cool. I got to be honest with you. You got to like it. So fans should be looking forward to that. Indiana football coming into the 21st century. Five Left's asking, how are they going to have a grab and pay checkout? That sounds problematic. I'm assuming there are places where you can just pay where it's self-service. I do not know how that is worked out, but I would say that you have to just scan the QR code and there you go. It's kind of hard to cheat that, but they'll have people watching. But yeah, if that's what that means, I don't know that does sound like it could be problematic, but we'll see. But they're just making options they're just trying to make options better for fans, make the experience better, make it faster. You know, what do you hate worst of all? Standing in line for the restroom, number one, and standing in line for concessions, number two, whether it's food or beer or whatever the case may be. So it looks like they are trying to make it as quick as possible. So you got that going for you, which is nice. Heath says his employer has a scan and go for vending. How's it work? Does it work out well? So you got that. Hey, we've got more coming up. When we come back, we're going to hear from Curt Cignetti, Indiana's football coach, who met with the media on game week yesterday. And back with plenty more right after this.
This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville.
I sent Mike another email.
Mike is on vacation. Did you not hear me say that?
Oh, no, I did not. No, sorry.
Yep.
Well, I apologize for that.
Well, that's not your fault.
We go back at 37:30.
We're going to use a lot of Cignetti in this segment.
Yeah. Yeah, we got 2 Cignetti clips, so we should be good.
Oh. See if I can get Gabriel on. We have to get Skylar to create a Big Ten fantasy football.
15. We got 10 seconds, actually. All right. In 3, 2, 1.
This segment is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Tuesday of game week 1 in college football. And I'm jacked, man. I'm juiced. Out at the stadium yesterday and got to travel around the concourse and some new things they've done at for IU. But looking forward to it. Looking forward to the season kicking off because there are going to be a lot of great games. And unfortunately, when you're at a game, that's usually an 8-hour day for us. So I miss a lot of things. I'm glad that at least it's a 3:30 game so I can get home and watch the West Coast game that night, as there will be plenty coming along. Connor Stallions is in the news again. Former Michigan staff member Connor Stallions told NCAA investigators that he'd never participated in advanced in-person scouting and didn't purchase tickets for others to attend games of the Wolverines' future opponents to record their signals. This is the guy that was caught with a picture on the sideline of someone. Stallions made the claims in April during a video interview with the NCAA investigators, segments of which were included in the new Netflix documentary Sign Stealer. Ooh, I didn't know that was out. I have to check that out. Which was released Tuesday. Was that last Tuesday or today? A lifelong Michigan fan and retired captain in the United States Marine Corps, hired as an analyst in 2022. Stallions is the alleged ringleader in a vast sign-stealing operation, which he was accused of sending people to scout Wolverines' future opponents, including recording play signals from team sidelines. The NCAA last week sent Michigan a notice of allegations regarding prohibited off-campus sign stealing. According to the documentary, Stallions faces a 3-year ban from coaching that he intends to challenge. Well, he's already coaching in high school right now. Again, this stuff, he wasn't a damn coach, first of all. And even if you get a 3-year ban, you go elsewhere. Look at the top of the heap there. Jim Harbaugh gets away unscathed. The 4-year show cause from the NCAA, it's pointless. He went to the NFL because he knew it was over. He cheated, won an NCAA or won a title, and left. And the title's left in place, and it's crap. I'll be honest with you. I think it's crap. While Stallings is asked by an NCAA investigator if any Michigan coaches or staff members were aware of the alleged scheme to obtain opponent signals through in-person event scouting, which is banned, of course, he replies, I did not obtain signals through in-person scouting. What does that mean? Did you obtain it from watching the material you recorded from in-person scouting, and then you obtained it by figuring it out? An NCAA investigator asked Stallings if he ever directed anyone to attend a game in which Michigan wasn't competing. No, I don't ever recall directing anyone to go to a game. Records provided by ESPN by several Big Ten schools and from some outside the conference showed Stallings purchased tickets for multiple games involving future opponents. Stallings told NCAA investigators that he frequently purchased tickets to many games and would either resell tickets or transfer them to friends. Yes, I do that all the time. That makes perfect sense. I buy games of teams' opponents and give them away. I'm such a generous person. Joke. Stallings also tells the NCAA that there are some people who attended games using tickets that he purchased and recorded parts of those games. Stallings told investigators that he didn't recall who recorded the games, but would receive film from some of them. It's funny. It's a waste of time. What are they going to do? They're not going to do anything. They're not going to do the biggest thing, which is take away a Title I simply through cheating. My God. In what world, in what sport? Well, I guess every sport. You think about the Houston Astros cheated their way to a World Series title. If there are no ramifications, why would you not try? If you ain't cheating, great rodeo saying, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So you got that going for you. So there's that. Now, someone that's not cheating, Kurt Cignetti. We've got a couple of clips from Kurt meeting with the media yesterday. Right now, let's hear what Coach had to say. I don't know what this, Nick, what's this first one on?
Let's see. We have Cignetti on this weekend's game, and we have on what the goods are and what the bads are. And not necessarily the bads, but what needs to be improved. So we can start off with that first one.
Well, I think we were more consistent in practice as camp went on. We weren't an up and down team. We still have to more consistently get everybody doing what they're supposed to do, assignment-wise, technique-wise. But part of that is the challenge of camp, too, because you install everything. So the plate is very heavy. Now, you get into the first game, and that plate will lighten up a little bit. And you want to free them up from thinking too much so they can play fast and let their ability take over.
There's Kurt Cignetti on the installation of everything. And, this is game one. So making mistakes or not making mistakes, that's the key to anything in game one. But it goes the same way for your opponent. And when you have more talent than the other team, that's where you expect I got distracted by Ross asking if I know when Cignetti's radio show starts. It's a great question. I'm going to assume if it doesn't start this Thursday, which it very well might, it will be next Thursday. But that's a great question, and I'll have that answer before we're done with the show. How about that? So we've got that going for us. Kurt Cignetti also, let's hear, what's the other clip that we have on, Nick?
All right. Well, it's game week. Finally here. So a lot of work to be done, obviously, before we kick off. Got to have a great week of preparation starting with today to put ourselves in the best position, to be successful, to play our best. FIU, Coach McIntyre does a great job, has throughout his entire career. Extremely dangerous quarterback, dual threat kind of guy that throws the ball well, extends plays, can run, and we'll have to do a great job on him. They've got a deep stable of receivers, returning 2 or 3 receivers and adding more guys from the transfer portal. Impressed with the running backs. The guys all returned that they played last season. Experienced in the secondary at safety and corner. A leading tackler returns at linebacker. Specialists are good. Kicker, long snapper, punter, return people. So, it'll be a challenge. And we'll have to play well. And, I want to see us play fast and physical and cut out some of the mistakes we made in the first 2 scrimmages, penalties, misassignments, things of that nature, but also play smart, disciplined, and poised. So there's a fine line there. But we do want to attack, be that kind of team, and we'll have to play well.
Yes, you will. And something I noticed yesterday after the presser started, the microphone at the dais that he was speaking at was just pointed like right at his stomach. And I so badly wanted to just step up and straighten it up and point it towards him because those are directional mics. But I'll make sure to personally take care of that next week if I have to when we walk in to do that on Monday. The next time we'll see Cignetti, I believe, will be after the game on Saturday. So it's going to be a fun time. I think the crowd is everybody seems to be fired up. Yeah, it's the start of football season, which is always good, but it's always great when you have a great feeling going into the season, a feeling that your team can be competitive. And I think that most fans feel that way. There's still a ton of people that are on this, they got to show me. Well, first of all, they don't have to show you anything. If you feel that way, I think that is, and I don't approach this stuff as a fan, but when I hear fans do that, I'm like, okay, then you're a fair weather fan. You're a bandwagon fan. You either support a team, that doesn't matter if it's a pro team, a college team, a high school team, doesn't matter. You're either a fan of them or you are not. Because if your fandom relies strictly on production only, anybody can like a winner. Gee whiz. Anybody can be a bandwagon fan. But I think Indiana is, and I'm not even, like I said, I don't approach this from a fan standpoint, but I think Indiana is going to be surprising. I've said it over and over, and but that's my opinion I'm basing on today. Everybody else keeps they got to show me that. Every time I hear that, I'm like, show you what? What do they have to show you? That this coaching staff was not part of last year's coaching staff? That this team was not nearly the same of last year's team? What is it that they have to show you? They don't owe people jack. Do you think they're not going to try to win? Do you think Curt Cignetti came to Indiana to lose? No. So I just get that stuff like that. In the next hour, we're going to talk about the Big Ten tiebreakers as they were released. Not a big surprise, very similar. A lot of the conferences, not just the Big Ten, have gone away from divisions. Now, the ACC doesn't have divisions. But does the SEC still have divisions? They probably do, I think. They might be the only major conference that still has divisions, and I'm not positive that they do. But I don't recall it being separated. So I'm going to think that is the case. As I quickly try to, no, I'm wrong. The SEC will still play the 8 conference games this year, which that's ridiculous. Most other conferences play 9. And that leaves you 3 other games to set up, non-con games. But that gives you 9 solid games that you're already playing. SEC doesn't do that. And while some of those teams do set up great games, Texas A&M is playing Notre Dame. USC is playing. USC is, and remember that teams like Purdue, and they've killed themselves with their schedule, though. But the SEC has also eliminated divisions. So everybody, the divisions are gone, and now we've got the tiebreakers that we're going to have to talk about, which we will do on the other side. Chronic Hoosier is going to join us as well. So we've got plenty to talk about. And we'll hear more from Curt Cignetti as well. We're back with more right after this.
Segment is brought to you by the Ugly Grouper.
Chronic, how are you, brother?
What up?
You know it, man. First week of school, driving around, seeing people everywhere. Week 1 of football, it's on.
We back, baby. B-Town is officially back.
And B-Town Bloomington, Memorial Stadium is going to seem more like B-Town than it ever has. I was out there yesterday getting a taste of the new digs. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and this is a great example of what happens when you want to elevate your program and actually do things professionally. I can't remember the name of the company. They've got a new, previously, I guess we in-house the catering, all the concessions.
Levy's.
Yeah. And, what you saw is what you get when you run a food business when that's not your business.
Yeah, they went out and brought in a bunch of local people, which is usually not what a company like that will do. They'll take it off for themselves, but they were smart enough, and I should save this, but I think it was very smart to go out and get Buffalo's and Avers and
Yogis and Chocolate Mousse. Yeah.
Everything. I mean, it is a taste of Bloomington inside of Memorial Stadium now.
Well, and the grab and go offerings. I mean, this is what you see when you go, you go to the airport, you go to Lucas Oil, you go to a major venue where they actually are being run by companies with the focus on maximizing sales and profit.
And know how to make it happen.
Oh, just wait. There are things that I'm not allowed to say, but there's cool stuff in the works, especially if you like choices.
I'll have to get a special report off air from that.
Yeah, there are choices that are soon to enter the fold. That'll be cool.
Choices are always good.
Do 10. Three.
This segment is brought to you by the Fresh Fork in Bloomington.
Welcome back. It is a Tuesday. Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Jim Coyle with you as always, and joined now by Chronic Hoosier as we are in game week 1 mode. And I'm here for it, man. I am all about college football, the start of it. It's going to be a blast. I think it's going to be fun to cover a team that I think is going to win this year. And Chronic, I think that the fans are kind of mostly jacked about this season.
We had the blip, the 2020 season, where IU just felt invincible, or at least IU fans did following that year. Really, and it was just that as a blip. We saw how quickly that can dissipate. Thinking about that Cincinnati game the following year, but this is a level of excitement I can't remember in a long time around the program, and I'm reveling in every minute of it. I understand the history, and I understand how quickly the optimism can turn dark and gray. But for the time being, it's always an exciting time at the start of the season when everybody's undefeated. But with the new staff in town, the new mindset, just so many changes around the program. More than anything, just the palpable level of talent and commitment to the program right now that we haven't seen in quite some time. You got to go back to the Mallory years in my case to remember when it felt this good looking forward to an Indiana football game. And I know those sentences aren't commonly uttered, but it does, and I'm here for it. And I don't care who wants to tweet me. 4 months down the road when things don't go to plan. But for the moment, I'm absolutely here for it. And most importantly, so is a huge part of our community around us, and that is absolutely everything when you're trying to turn a program around.
Yeah, and I think that once fans not only see the product that I expect to see on the field, they see the changes that have taken place at IU's Memorial Stadium. I think that both of those are just going to continue to envelop the program and grow it, which is what they have not been able to do for decades.
Yeah, and we've heard a lot of lip service over the years about improving the fan experience, and I'm not going to say that they haven't made concerted efforts, because there very much has been. But I think the changes that you're seeing just in the last couple of years, they've completely physically remade the stadium. They have really tweaked every part about the game day experience now, and with the addition of all the new local vendors. And the different options and offerings that are available, reconfiguring the pregame routine and everything about it. It's a very concerted, deliberate process that got us to this point where I think fans are going to notice a markedly different vibe in just every element outside of the playing surface when they go in there. And I think you're going to see a stadium that looks and feels a lot more like the rest of the country, quite frankly. A legitimate professional operation that's there to put as many foods and drinks in your hands as possible during the limited time you're in there, and give you a whole host of options other than just, dogs and cold pizza.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking a lot of Bloomington favorites. Aver's Pizza. I had not had that before. I'll be honest with you. I did see it yesterday. I didn't see the thin crust. That is my choice, so I walked on by. Nothing. I'm not saying that there's anything bad with that. I'm a thin crust guy. I don't do the anything other than that. But Buffalo's, Ed Schwartzman was there yesterday. Let's see, Yogi's. They were there as well. I'm trying to think. You mentioned the chocolate mousse. This several Bloomington
Baked
staples.
cookies.
Several Bloomington staples, and it's I don't know. It's just a way to make it more comfortable, but also if you walk around the stadium, you can see the difference. Chronic. Each individual concession area has its own name. You've got the sausage house, then you've got an area for Buffalo's. So it's also a way of spreading out. You're not gonna with the concession stands not just being the same. Well, now you kind of can spread that crowd out, and hopefully lines will be shorter and quicker.
No doubt. And, they've got grab and go options now. And you've seen this recently emerge all over the place, whether it be airports or, larger professional venues, where if you just want a beverage, be it soft or hard, that's all there is. It's just a cooler full of drinks. You grab what you want. You pay with your phone or your card. It's all tap and go now, and you're in and out, and you're back at your seat, and there's hardly any line. You literally don't stop moving, which for me is perfect because, if I just want a beer, I don't want to have to wait behind everybody trying to feed the whole family and get their order together. So no, I think it's going to be a marked difference and improvement in the total experience. And at the end of the day, all that is well and good. But when you can leave the stadium with a smile on your face and a W in your pocket, that's truly how you create generational fans. And for years, I felt like this was where IU was struggling. You get new people into attendance, and the product on the field is not great. Everything outside the field and the stands is kind of lackluster. So it's just difficult to cultivate generational returns. And win or lose, when everybody goes in, they have a good time. They're able to get what they want while they're in there. The souvenirs. It doesn't seem like much to us. I remember going there as a kid and being able to leave with that one thing, that just, I want that, Daddy. And then, you wear it 4 out of the next 5 days in a row. That matters. That absolutely matters. I remember being a kid and there was nothing better than walking into school with some fresh sweats from TIS. So, when you look at the totality of the experience, literally from the moment that you park, the vibe outside the stadium, once you pass through the gates, once you get your concessions of choice and make it to your seat, I think it's going to be just a tremendously different and better experience, hopefully, as folks file in. And most importantly, give you plenty of reasons to want to come back and to maybe stay to the fourth quarter.
Absolutely. Tanis is asking me which Pizza King am I a fan of, because they're a thin crust staple. I'm an Arnie's fan, I have to admit, but Arnie's not available in the Bloomington area because they're a Purdue family.
Yeah, but Arnie's and Pizza King are kissing cousins. We can split hairs on that, but they're close enough that they're from the same genus.
So, yeah, it's like some of the early development of man. It's like White Castle and Crystals. There are some differences, but pretty much the same thing. I get it. Russell thinks that the Pizza King on Bluffton Road is best in the Fort Wayne area. Well, there you go. Everybody likes what they like, but you won't have to worry about that. Neither will be at Memorial Stadium. Most importantly, I ain't gonna
be mad if you want to bring Pizza King, though. I'll come find you.
There you go. the game itself is what everyone looking at now. I think this is a made-up game from the Hurricane back when Michael Penix Jr. was here, I believe, right?
Yeah, I think you are right on that, as a matter of fact.
That's crazy because that goes back in time. But this is a great opportunity for Indiana to get to see where they are, basically, to not make the mistakes, to run the offense through the paces. Where are any deficiencies now? Same with defense. Where are there any deficiencies? Where are they? What's working on offense? Who's looking better? It's just a ton of things that you look at, and I keep looking at the schedule. Indiana opens the season with 2 non-con games, as they will take on Western Illinois the following week before opening up Big Ten play with their 3rd week game against UCLA. UCLA will only have 1 game before they play Indiana, although they have a bye week.
Yeah, it's a rough schedule on their part. I hate seeing the bye in the first quarter of the season. But, you know, with any season start, obviously you want to get the W, but just as importantly, you know, not only do you want to get a sense of what your personnel is and how it works and what groups are clicking, get everybody out healthy. You know, you want to get some live snaps under your belt, fresh opponent you've never seen, let out some of that aggression that's been building up during camp. But more than anything, you really want to sharpen the iron and keep all your assets available for the coming games. But you know, this should be perfect. Weather is about as good as you can get in Bloomington. Afternoon time slot, so people are going to have a good 6 hours. I think the lot's open at 9 o'clock. Just postcard perfect day for football in Bloomington.
Yeah, and I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. I'm just curious. I'm curious as what the fan turnout is going to be. We've heard that you know, everybody's excited for the most part. I think everybody's excited. I had this conversation a minute ago, but there are still so many people that I see are, wow, they got to prove it to me. They got to show it on the field and this, that. And I'm like, get out of here with that crap. Either you're a fan and you support something, go there and watch it, or not. Nobody needs anything proven to anybody. It's just got to do it. It's blowing my mind how in this era of NIL, of transfer portals, that with a completely new staff and mostly a new team, that anybody wants to compare this team to last year's or the year before that. It's not. There is no comparison. There's some things that are close because some of the guys are on that team, but basically not. So I don't even use that as any kind of a measurement at all, personally.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think there is some credence to the fans that are a little bit skeptical. You know, we've heard for years that this is a new IU and whatnot, and it's not always panned out that way. But what I would counter to all of that is, I'll tell you what, right now you can get in the door for $8 a ticket. $8 a ticket. I don't know. There's a high school game that's going to play this week that's going to get you in for a much different price. Some of them probably higher than that. So get on the bus now. It's cheaper. It's funner when you can say you got in on the ground floor, and it's going to be a whole lot more accessible because as you've seen, when those wins start stacking up, those ticket prices start climbing, the seats start filling, and it's going to get harder and harder. And not only that, the weather tends to get a little bit worse as the season goes on. So if you're unsure about it, there are a few things you can do in Bloomington right now. It's cheaper than a round of bowling, quite honestly. Go check it out. See if it's not a great day's value for the family. Because honestly, when you look at the prices across the board, you know, the get in the door game or price for a cupcake basketball game is often going to be closer to $100 per ticket. This is a tremendous value right now. I jump on it. If this were a stock, I'm screaming buy.
Absolutely. What are you looking forward to most this week?
Points. I want to see points, man. I want to see an offense that is effective, that is creative, that is dynamic, but most importantly, that can get up and down the field, take care of the football, and put some dang points on the board. this is the one thing that I think, or the one area where I think Cignetti is probably most renowned for. This is where I want to see, immediate impact. When you've got one of the best wide receiver rooms in the country, you've got a lot of talent, a lot of experience in your skill positions. I want to see that they've been able to be productive in the offseason, that they've had a camp that showed them what they're capable of. I want to see them go out and do it. And I want to see it result in points on the scoreboard, quite frankly. A lot of them. I'm here for points.
Yeah, they are a 20.5 point favorite this week. And I think they cover this. I picked the score of 35-10. So that would leave Indiana covering that by a few points. But I think they cover this spread personally. But for a couple of reasons. Number one, because I think Curt Cignetti's offense is going to be a multifaceted offense that is going to cause a great deal of problems for someone like Florida International. Number two, kind of like always, I think Curt Cignetti wants to, although he does not say it or acknowledge it, I think that he kind of wants to make a statement of sorts. I'm not saying he's going to try to go out and win this game 60-0, but he'll let the game. They're going to let the game come to him because you have to let the game play out. But if at all possible, they're going to do whatever they can to make it known that, hey, we're here to play this year, and probably ought to start taking us seriously.
Absolutely. This is something that you've seen for years from some of the big boys. The non-conference part of the schedule is where they really flex the muscle, run the scoreboard up, and just send a statement to the rest of the country, the league, and particularly the voters that they're here and they're here to be taken seriously. And I'm absolutely here for an Indiana staff that has no problem taking an opponent to the woodshed. If you don't like it, stop them. Quite frankly, stop them. We've been on the receiving end of that playbook far too many times. And if you've got an engine that's capable of revving that high, by all means, open it up, let it rip, and let's see what this thing's capable of. But again, more than anything, get the W and get everybody off the field healthy.
Health is what it's all about, baby. They've got to stay healthy this year. Everything is set up beautifully for this team, but they have to remain healthy. Nick Kidwell, a huge loss, but every team is going to have some injuries. There's no doubt about that. But it's how deep you are and how the ability you have to replace or fill in for those losses.
Depth of talent. That's the riddle that has vexed Indiana football since the beginning of time. You can have talent, but can you build depth of talent so that you can withstand those injuries?
Absolutely. Well, I am certainly looking forward to it. Besides a win, now Saturdays are tough for you, right?
Saturdays, yeah. I have a pretty full schedule week long. Quite honestly, I work entirely too much. But looking forward to this one, man. Looking forward to everyone here. Although, we get to do it once and then we turn around and we steal the Friday night lights next week. So, I enjoy night games at the Rock. I really do. Some of my favorite times. I still feel cringy when you're going there on a Friday night. It's tough. But if I'm not mistaken, I can't remember what the local football schedule is. You just hate to see it when families are split up here. You got a lot of families that support local football at the high school level, and it just takes them out of the equation, which is honestly part of your foundation for the program. So it's difficult. It's one of those games that IU seems to perennially get slotted with, and it takes your staff off the road during a critical recruiting period and keeps the kids from coming to see you during game day. So it's not always optimal, but you know what? When you got 8 home games, if they got to make one of them a Friday night game, I guess I'm here for it so long as it results in a win.
I would really like to see them get away from that. I really do it. I know that they don't do it a ton, but there's a reason they don't do it a ton, because if they did, then they would really catch holy hell. But just get away from it, guys. But this week there is a ton of football that begins on Thursday night and it goes through Monday night because of the holiday.
Yeah, and as cringy as I don't like Fridays. I think Thursdays are an abomination. I think you're just cutting way too much time out of the recovery period from the prior week's game. But like Friday night games, it's just a bold money grab trying to get a little more room in the TV schedule. So it is what it is. That's the world we live in, and you don't make the rules. You just got to play the game.
Yeah, and Michigan, man, they're falling like a rock in bettor's eyes. People are not, and I talked about this. I have no faith in Michigan because they've lost a ton on offense, a ton on defense. They lost a ton coaching wise. They have a bunch of crap that is still going on there. And Michigan is right now the lowest betting favorite for a reigning national champion to repeat that there has been in quite some time, it looks like. And so a lot of people feeling the same way that I do. And that's a game for Indiana. As a matter of fact, it's way down the schedule. But Tom Jonas pointed out to me that the three teams that Curt Cignetti called out during his introductory press conference at Simon Scott Assembly Hall, that Purdue sucks and so do Michigan and Ohio State too, the last 3 games of the season.
Yeah, I'll say this much, man. In the immortal words of Shakespeare, beware the Ides of March and week 1 betting lines. It's just things get weird in mid-March and the first week of this season. So I'm here for the fall of Michigan, but I'm not putting any money on it until I see it with my own eyes.
Absolutely. Chronic Hoosier, appreciate you, my friend.
Thanks as always for having me. We'll catch you at the Rock.
You betcha. We've got more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by the Fresh Fork. Make sure you reach out and get some of those great meals. Back right after this.
This segment is brought to you by the Fresh Fork in Bloomington.
My darling. Nope, not what I was looking for. What the hell is that? Delete column. Oh. What the hell is going on with my computer today? All right, you're just going to shut that down.
We got about 1 minute.
Man, I missed Pearl Jam.
Pearl Jam.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really out of left field, I feel like. 30 seconds.
Can you pull up? There are some pictures from Zach Browning on Twitter. He's with the Hoosier.com that has the stuff that I'm talking about.
What was that exactly?
Zach Browning on Twitter. I'll send it to you.
Okay. We are ready to go back live now.
Go.
All right.
This segment is brought to you by the Rusty Gator.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Tuesday. It is game week, baby, week 1 of college football, and I'm here for it. Looking forward to it, and very happy. Just stumbling through Twitter real quick. See Greg Regstraw, our friend Greg Regstraw, on the go at the airport. So, everybody's on the move. It is that time of week. We've got all kinds of things coming up. Basketball not that far away either. I don't want to get into that, but not that far off, people. And then it'll be Katie bar to the door. Apparently, was Pearl Jam in concert up at Indianapolis last night? Because our buddy Bob Kravitz apparently went. And Eddie Vedder shouted out at Caitlin Clark 22. Or just Caitlin Clark, I'm not sure. But I did see that Zach Browning from the Hoosier.com does have some photos uploaded that shows what I'm talking about. There's a Buffalo's has its own area. You know, one of these concession areas, just Buffalo's. It's nothing else. I mean, besides the drinks and whatnot that they have, and I believe you can still get popcorn and whatnot, but that's the Buffalo's one. And then I see another one, Crossroads and Provisions. This must be the grab and go, where they have hot dogs, sandwiches, snacks, and beer, which, boom, yeah, that would be nice just to be able to grab and go that. The Candy Stripe Confections, that looks also to be like a grab and go situation, to where you just have the cases, cold cases of the beverages inside and whatever not. And you grab those and roll on, pay for it, and get out. Yogi's, theirs is away from the normal concessions. It's a new little stands thing that's been built towards closer to Simon Scott Assembly Hall, and I saw some other ones, plenty of those, but oh man, I'm going to tell him I'm jealous, not happy about that. Didn't invite me. Wait till he's on. It's a couple days from now. Where's the my invite? Russell letting us know that Peyton Hendershot, waived by the Dallas Cowboys. A little surprising. He had been playing so well for them. We'll see if he can catch on to another job. But we're in that time of year where NFL teams they have to cut those rosters down from like 90 or whatever to 53. Russell says it would be nice for Assembly Hall basketball floor be repainted in, oh my God, that would be the most atrocious thing I've ever seen. Russell wants the basketball floor at Simon Scott Assembly Hall to be repainted in candy stripe colors. Dude, come on. It's not Oregon. You're not looking for the most obtrusive thing you can have. No. The only thing that I would like to see is maybe a shaded area inside the 3-point area. That's it. Other than that, I'll tell you something that you will be seeing, and I can't remember if we've talked about it much, but Indiana is now seeking. That's right, Brian. Let's don't do that. Let's have some class and act like you've been there before. That is the perfect response, Brian. Thank you very much. Justin calling it Candyland Court. That's funny. That would be that's kind of funny. But oh gosh. Oh, Indiana basketball and football. Oh, it's not basketball and football. It's Indiana athletics. But if you have a company, they are selling ad space on the Simon Scott Assembly Hall, Branch McCracken floor, and Indiana's Memorial Stadium for a company to have their name logo on the field, on the floor. NCAA recently passing legislation that will allow that. That doesn't surprise me. And as long as it's one, I mean, who cares? It's where it's all going. We have already known that. Next will be those patches on the jersey, just like the NBA. It's all about money now, but that's because these schools are having to find ways to make up for making money because so many of their avenues have been drained dry towards the athletes. And now they have to continue to find new ways to generate income. And this would be one of those. I'm surprised, honestly, that Indiana has not sold naming rights to Memorial Stadium. The fact that they have 8 home games this year, that would be getting said a ton. Now, I would imagine that comes, if the success comes, that shortly thereafter, that naming right will come because Indiana has to build a new press box. It's not an if, but when. They have got to put in suites. This thing has got to be replaced. It's from the 60s, people. I mean, Memorial Stadium's a decent looking stadium now that they've enclosed it. You want to get to the point to where filling it is pretty easy to do. And at 52,000 in a Big Ten situation, that shouldn't be a problematic. We'll see. We shall see. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the action this week. And I can't wait. But those are some of the things going on out at the stadium, differences that you'll see. Then, we've got B-Town Boulevard, a lot of changes. It'll be interesting to see after the week one of conversations that we could have, how people see it, how they found it, how these concessions work, how they help out. Do they mitigate time waiting? I cannot imagine that it won't, but the proof's in the pudding, which I know everybody keeps talking about that as well as playing. But IU basketball to play at Tennessee in a charity exhibition game on October 27th. Thank you, Andy. That'll be interesting. Little SEC Big Ten crossover coming up. And it's wild how a lot of these things have changed. What will Indiana basketball look like in 2024? Yeah, we shall see. What's Florida International look like? Yeah, we shall see. I think that they're going to be overmatched pretty quickly. I think that Brian Haynes and his defense, first, do not want to make mistakes, first off, but then they're going to want to attack. FIU was 4-8 last season. Quarterback Keon Jenkins is back, so they have a returning quarterback, but he's just a sophomore. He had the indoctrination of a freshman last year. He was the first true freshman to start at quarterback for the Panthers in over 10 years. He threw for 2,400 yards and 11 touchdowns, completing 58% of his passes with 11 picks. He is dangerous with his legs when he manages to escape the pocket, rushing for 6 touchdowns last season. He's still young. He's a dual threat. Could be kind of a headache. We'll see, especially early on with the defense that is still getting its sea legs, being the first game. That's you'd probably rather have a quarterback that is more of a pocket guy. But running backs, Shamari Lawrence and Lexington Joseph. Key here, back in 2022, Joseph led Florida International in rushing, totaled 536 yards and 5 touchdowns on the ground. He missed the entirety of last season due to an ACL injury. How does he come back? Lawrence had to take care of the rushing last year, and he only compiled 566 yards on the ground in 2023. That's not a ton for the season. I mean, it's not bad, but with the 1,000-yard mark, kind of the benchmark, you're halfway there. So I just think that overall, Florida International is going to be outmatched. They did finish the 2023 season inside the bottom 20 of FBS in scoring. So they weren't scoring much last year, 20 points per game. Their quarterback, he was a freshman then, but Keon Jenkins was sacked nearly 4 times a game. 4 times a game last year. Part of that was probably being a freshman, not knowing when to run, but they also finished the season as one of the worst defensive units in the nation last season, allowing 31 points and 436 yards per game. Florida International has gone 4-8 in each of the first 2 seasons. Head coach Mike McIntyre has been at the helm of the Panthers. The last time FIU finished the season with a winning record was back in 2018. Now, just like I'm not judging Indiana off of last season, I will judge some of Florida International because they have a lot of the major pieces returning, albeit number one, their coach, their staff coming back. You got the same quarterback coming back. So it's a little different there. But even with that, while they may improve, I think that it's going to be a rude introduction to the 2024 college football season for Florida International. Brian pointing out that the Hoosiers defeated the Panthers 36-22 back in 2015, 34-13 in 16, and 38-28 in 18. I'm saying it's going to be 35-10 this time. I've got Indiana covering the spread. And then Friday, of course, we'll go over, we'll pull those picks up and call them out. Don't forget to get your picks in for the Indiana Sports Beat College Game Day Pick'em. Just go to the fantasy tab on the ESPN app and look for Indiana Sports Beat is the group. Password Cignetti24. Got that right. Brian says the over-under is 50. So I would be taking the under. Yeah. But I'm more about the spread. I'm not going to imagine Florida International scoring a bunch of points against Brian Haynes and his defense. And I think that Indiana's offense is going to come out firing. And I don't mean throwing the ball downfield 100 times. I just mean that they have so many options that it's such a multifaceted offense. It's going to give Florida International hell, especially being the first the game of the year. Cody says on the outside of the stadium on the west side, they used to have Indiana written down the side of it from the press box. They should put a video board strip where it used to say Indiana. Ed's taking Texas A&M and the negative and the giving up the 3 points against Notre Dame. I'm with that all day long. Isn't that in Texas? And no, Brian, he does not have an issue running it up. I don't think he does it on purpose. I think he just lives by the mindset of, hey, they pay me to score, they pay you to stop me. So, and it will matter. You know what? And that's a great issue because a program like Indiana needs the attention. So scoring big, beating teams big when you have the chance, it's important. They have to get the attention of these voters, of these college football playoff voters, or whatever the case. Not that I'm saying Indiana is going into the playoffs, but when you're thinking big, when you're thinking ahead, those are some of the things that you need to do. If you have the opportunity, win big. I'm not saying to purposely drive the score up, but I'm also saying don't take the foot off the gas necessarily. If they stop you, they stop you, but you put the points on the board. We're going to take our last break. Got more coming up. We might hear more from Cignetti, as a matter of fact. And we'll go over the Big Ten tiebreakers that were released yesterday. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat Radio, brought to you by the Ugly Grouper on Anna Maria Island, Florida. Or no matter if you're already in the area or will be, stop by and enjoy some of the incredible food, locally sourced seafood, craft beers and cocktails, and live music every day. Back with more right after this.
This segment is brought to you by the Ugly Grouper.
I cannot even imagine what a candy striped football field would look like. I mean, I can imagine what the field would look like.
I think
players on it.
Yeah, I would probably throw up just looking at it. Like
I
would
just
get
think
dizzy.
it would be mind-boggling.
It'd be very disorienting. I feel like.
Yeah.
Oh no. I tried saving those pictures, but they wouldn't let me upload them to StreamYard for some reason. I just couldn't find them. I don't know. It was weird.
Oh, darn it. I forgot what I was going to say.
I'm sorry about that.
No, that's all right.
We go back at 1:40:20, by the way. So we got 2 minutes.
You might want to grab another clip. Or two if you can.
We have the willpower one if you want to talk about that.
I'd like to have. Cignetti would be good.
Another Cignetti?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll see if I can get one in there. 15 seconds. All right, you ready? Rusty Gator. Let me change this. And 3, 2, 1.
This segment is brought to you by the Rusty Gator.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us. As it's college football week 1 ahead of us. Looking forward to that. Was out at the stadium yesterday and got to get a tour of some of the areas that have been upgraded. Very nice on the walking around. It's differences that I think everyone's going to see immediately. More importantly, I think that we're going to see differences on the field as well, which is going to just make it a much funner atmosphere. So you're going to have all these added atmospheric things added. B-Town Boulevard, the walk has changed. And if the team's better, it's going to grow. It just will. If you build it, they will come. So there's no doubt about that. You could go to the Hoosier.com and get updated on everything, like Indiana men's basketball slated to open the 24-25 season with a charity exhibition contest against Tennessee, as I mentioned a minute ago, on Sunday, October 27th, down in Knoxville. So there's an opportunity to go to Thomas Bowling Stadium or Arena? I can't remember. But the Hoosiers and Volunteers will meet prior to the start of the season with all proceeds going to charity. Very cool thing that a lot of these teams do now. Supporting the John McClendon Foundation. So good to see that. But more importantly, kind of a cool matchup that wouldn't take place normally. Thompson Bowling Arena, that's what it is. At Food City Center in Knoxville against Tennessee, like I said. NCAA rules mandate that for an exhibition game between two D1 teams, the host school must sell tickets and donate the proceeds to a designated charity. I think that may be the only good rule that the NCAA has, and it's a great one. I love it. But Tennessee and Indiana have jointly agreed to support the John McClendon Foundation. The general public on sale date is September 16th, and that is via allvols.com. ALLVOLS. Allvols.com. The Tip Time and TV network will be announced at a later date. Mike Whitson said, "We are excited to be able to play such a good, well-coached team in Tennessee to get us ready for the season. We wanted to test ourselves away from our home floor early in the season, and this will be a great experience to learn where we are as a ball club." It actually is. It is something very good to see you go on the road and playing a competitive team. That's a great move for Indiana, and see where they are at that point will give us a better indication of what the season start is going to look like. Woodson also said, "We are also honored to play for such a wonderful cause in the McClendon Foundation. The work they do is truly special and is a credit to John McClendon and his legacy. Named for the esteemed Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame member, the John McClendon Foundation offers scholarships for minority students who intend to pursue a postgraduate degree in athletics administration. It's also home to the McClendon Minority Leadership Initiative, a new coach-driven program to create access 2, and opportunity 4, meaningful employment for experienced candidates known as future leaders. So, cool stuff coming up. The Volunteers finished the season last year with a 27-9 record, of course. They had a guy named Dalton Connect on that squad. They went to the Elite 8 in the NCAA, but they lost 6 players from that rotation, including NBA draft, first-round draft pick Dalton Connect. Head coach Rick Barnes, a 38-year college basketball veteran, reloaded with a 14th ranked transfer portal class. So this should be a worthy contest for Indiana basketball. So again, looking forward to that. It's October 27th. It's a Sunday. Does not coincide with a football game, which is good. That would be
There's a Cignetti clip in there for you, by the way, Jim.
All right, we appreciate that. So yeah, looking forward to that. It does not cross over to a football game, so that's good stuff. It's the day after Indiana plays Washington at home in Bloomington. So making both of those would be that's a trip, but we'll have to see what we can do. Curt Cignetti met with us yesterday. We talked to him about a lot of things leading up to this week 1 contest with Florida International. Let's hear what he had to say. I don't know what the question on this particular clip is.
He's talking about the practices this week.
Yeah, well, all eyes are on this opponent and today. And, typical in season, I was up at 4 a.m. and in the office before 5. And, we'll have a light practice tonight. And then tomorrow is first and second down and punt return. And then Wednesday's third down, and Thursday's red area and goal line, 2 minute. And, the mornings and afternoons are spent preparing for those situations, and we put it all together.
I did not, I don't know that I've heard a coach practice that way. I know that when I was in school playing, that we didn't practice quite that way with certain days set up for certain downs. I kind of like it. And it's obviously part of what he has been doing, and maybe many other coaches have been doing. I don't always know exactly how their practices are set up, but again, there's a rhyme and a reason to what they've done on that staff. There is a rhyme and a reason to why they win. There's a rhyme and a reason to why it works well for the players that they bring in that fit the right way. So maybe that is just the best way it seems to work for those that he brings in. So I just can't wait. I wish they had great hot dogs at Memorial Stadium. I remember from being at the Notre Dame Indiana game a long time ago, people. The last time Indiana and Notre Dame played, I was there. It was in South Bend. I had the greatest hot dogs I'd ever had. I'll still remember that. And I'm looking forward to Levy's providing the media food this year. I know it sounds kind of petty, but man, when you're out there for 8 hours on a day, it's nice to have a decent meal. So looking forward to that. But man, lots going on with the charity game. Oh, and soccer this Thursday night. I'm planning on going out to Bill Armstrong Stadium to see Indiana host Notre Dame. What a way to start the season. 2 high-profile programs, 2 rivalry programs early on. I hope the weather cools down a tick. I haven't looked to see what it's going to be like Thursday, but I don't expect it to be anything less than hot because that's what it's been like. Oh, Thursday, high expected of 94 degrees. So it's going to be pretty muggy at game time, but that's life, right? But here's some great news. Wow. Is it great news? A high temperature expected for Saturday. We're going from 95 to 84, but variable clouds with thunderstorms, especially in the morning. A high of 84 on the day, winds light, and a variable chance of rain 50%. The rain comes in the morning. That's great because you know what it did? All it does is going to bring in some cooler air. And hopefully it gets done and over soon so it does not impact the tailgating. Hopefully it will not impact the game. It doesn't seem like it was going to at this point, but the temperatures, that's a lot nicer than dealing with that 95-degree temperatures. And I'm sure the players will enjoy that as well. J-Law, I know that everybody thinks Arnie's and Pizza King are basically the same. They look the same, but I guarantee you I can tell you the difference with a blind taste test. I'm not saying one's bad, but there's different. 98 degree down there in Evans Patch. Whoo, baby. That's hot. And if you're on the river, holy smokes, you got that humidity just level. Man, I went out yesterday to do the things that I had to go cover out at Memorial Stadium, whatever. I could not wait to be done and get back inside. And I will be doing the same thing today. So Brian says that Arnie is the sign stealing equivalent to Michigan. They stole Pizza King's stick. I think there's a little accuracy in that. I think that is somewhat. Well, they didn't steal it, but yeah, I can't disagree. But we're looking forward to tomorrow. We're back again. Of course, Dylan Sin from the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette, Cal Ned Rip and Rick Bozich. And oddly, I was watching a documentary on Wyatt Earp last night that I had not seen, and I am a big fan of the Old West and stuff like that from my rodeo days. But they were talking about this certain story that how the OK Corral, the gunfight at the OK Corral, all the stuff that led up to it, and then afterwards, and what the stuff that was going on, and started making all the newspapers. Well, they were showing these old newspapers roll up, and I saw the Fort Wayne Journal-Gazette roll through, and it just grabbed my attention. Thought it was great. Big thanks to everybody on the program today. Chronic Hoosier, thanks for joining us. Nick, the producer, for keeping us between the white lines. Most importantly, each and every one of you. Without you, we've got no reason to be here. We're back tomorrow to do it all again, and we appreciate you. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.